My name is Illic Philo, daughter of Archimedeans Rosh and Seri Philo, and younger sibling of Tal Philo. I write this for the sake of passing on the torch, along with leaving a legacy and telling my story, should the moment ever arrive for it, or if I fail. Should I start the story from the beginning? I've had too many beginnings, it's hard to choose. I grew up in the biodomes of Lua, born knowing of the luxury that was Orican elitism, the pearlish white, the flowing gold, silk that put diamond to shame. It's all true, and I remember it so vividly. But it wasn't for me. My father always told me I was too curious for my own good, and I definitely was. One time accidentally setting off a fusion reaction in the promenade. Nevertheless, it was then he started smuggling ancient texts from the Archimedean archives, letting me read them for my safety's sake. I always looked forward to a new book once a week, and I would devour their knowledge, eyes glued to their pages. My sister Tal would always scoff. She preferred living the life of luxury, always asking why I messed with those dusty books. She never really understood. My application to the Lunar Academy only made her question me more. But I never minded it. I just waited for that letter. That never happened. I never saw my parents that day, when my sister and I were called special guests. The Dax soldier told us and led us towards a shuttle outbound for Saturn. It was the first time I'd left the biodome. The stars shined so blissfully beyond the glass. I remember the Zeramen, how it all started. We still didn't have an answer as to why we were chosen, but we did not fight, and boarded the colony ship to Tal. Tal was nervous, and so was I, gripping her hand tightly as the Zeramen's engine charged and the view of Saturn's ring was taken over by an impenetrably black sky. It hurt to look, to gaze into it and wonder if there was anything out there. Be strong, my mother would always say, wiping off my tears. Her words gave me strength for what happened next. I remembered the fires, the chaos that permeated the ship. We could feel the void sneaking its way on board, changing us, scarring us. Tal was the first to discover our new power, delivering a fatal blow to a deranged passenger's chest, an adult. They all seemed to have gone mad, bloodlust in their eyes as they charged. We held out among a small group of children no older than ourselves on the engineering deck. It seems only the adults were affected. For what reason or purpose, I don't know. And I didn't want to know. All I wanted was to go back home. We made the core section our makeshift home, I being ever curious for the sake of keeping myself occupied, dismantled the dead engine and tried to learn of its inner workings. At the same time, I would like to think I got a little closer to my sister, making small talk and jokes as we patrolled the halls and scavenged for resources among the derelict. Turns out she was jealous of me that I was following our mother's and father's footsteps when she didn't. When the Zeramen finally exited the void, I didn't know what to expect. Years had passed while it only felt like months aboard the ship. My newfound powers were extremely volatile, flaring up at the slightest of emotion. I could feel the void energy on my skin and within me, dancing like a flame that burned blue out of control. I remember the sentience, how they came without warning through the terminus gate and attacked with such force it could be considered barbaric, yet calculated. They took my moment of peace, the promise of normalcy. The concept of surrogate bodies of Archimedean Margulis design, scrapped for something different. They gave us living bodies of war. They called them Warframes, gave them weapons, and told us we were to pilot them. Some resisted, but the Orican were steadfast in their decision and wanted their last hope, even if it meant by force. I didn't resist, neither did Tal. We just wanted things to go back the way they were, and if it meant destroying a few mechanized monstrosities, so be it. Our void energies powered these Zephyr primes, fighting in tandem with ornate and primitive weaponry due to the sentience adaptation to high-energy technology. I would like to think we made a good team, staying in the comfort of Sol while some volunteered to take the fight to Tau. We guarded Lua as sentient carrier vessels dropped their grunts by the thousands from orbit. Antimatter warheads coated the lunar surface with lethal radiation and cracked its crust. Tal and I made our final stand in a void portal room. Spent casings littering the floor and the smell of charred flesh hung in the air as we doused the sentients with void energy. We couldn't hold out for much longer. They knew that. We knew that this might be our last. I do not know if I should call that stray high-energy round a blessing in disguise. It burned its way into a power conduit, causing the portal to destabilize and go critical. Our only hope was to jump, lest we face the wrath of multitude of sentients and risk being caught in an uncontrolled void portal collapse. Tal's Zephyr took mine by the hand, and we jumped, knowing that we didn't know where we would land. I woke up in my pod, the nursery cracking all around me. My left arm, legs, and most of my body felt as if they were burning as they underwent necrosis. Crawling to safety, I watched as the Orican structure disintegrated. Something was different. I knew something was different as I watched the moon leave the void from its surface. I had slept for millennia before everyone else, before the fall of the Orican by our hands. The Lotus gave me clarity when I was confused, disoriented, and limbless. She gave me a Warframe, which I've named Zed and have cherished ever since. A generous Corpus crew member replaced my dead flesh with metallic prosthetics, which I am still grateful for. I gave Zed a new body, a prime, a relic reborn from another time. I've done a lot of things in this new time, but my sister still sleeps. Her pod still closed, consciousness trapped inside her Zephyr, trapped in the void. I'll free her someday, by any means, and protect her if I don't. The sentients still live, plotting and waiting. My goal is still the same, peace, even though we can never return to normality. I will attempt to restore balance, and to the person reading this, if I have failed, then you carry the torch now.